Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Well, we're going to take a look at this mouse right here. This is the Logitech G Pro X Superlight, a mouse released on late 2020, and I bought this mouse on 2022 for 120 euros on Amazon, and I've been using it ever since. And let's talk about the design. Well, this mouse looks pretty good in my opinion. It's a bit used, I haven't cleaned it yet, but just for this casual review, that's alright. And as you can see, it's been after 1 year and a half, it's still holding up great. It has this matte black color that is pretty good. And on the mouse wheel, it has a textured feeling right here, and inside it's white. And on the bottom there is mouse fit that is PTFE. That is slightly blue color. And there's the sensor and the on and off switch. There's actually no DPI button on this mouse, but I don't really use it, so for me it doesn't matter. If you need the DPI button, this is not the mouse for you. You should take a look on another mouse. And the shape, well, what can I say? It's a mouse, huh? And it weighs 63 grams. It is pretty light. It's way lighter than my remote control here. And for 63 grams, to be honest, nobody noticed how light this is. All the people that came to my house and tried this mouse, they didn't say anything. They were not surprised or anything about the weight. Only us gamers or the mouse enthusiasts are really going to notice the weight of the mouse. For a normal person, this mouse is just like all other. And the buttons, well, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons, and they are all working. As you can see, I can click this, click that, click this. They are all programmable with the software, of course, and the buttons are pretty good. They are pretty clicky, and I can spam it whatever I want, and there's no issues at all. And I remember there are people complaining about double clicking, but to be honest, after 1 year and a half of using this mouse, I've never had that issue. It's been perfect from what I am for my needs. And the build quality, after 1 year and a half, it's still pretty good. As you can see, the paint is not going off aside from this part right here. I don't know if you can see it right over here. It's like chipping off a little bit, but other than that, it's perfect. I even dropped this on the floor while I was trying to clean it, but it survived. Thankfully it did, because this mouse is fairly expensive compared to all other mouse, and I'm satisfied that it didn't break. Thankfully. And as you can see, just a little bit of cleaning, it will be good as new. A bit shiny here, it's losing a bit of the matte paint, becoming a bit glossy, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter much. But maybe if you have hands that are so acidic or something, first of all, you need to wash your hands more. Maybe it's going to be a little bit worse condition if you're using this mouse. But for me, as you can see, it's still perfectly fine. And the mouse feet, well, take a look at them. They are PTFE if I remember correctly, but for a casual gamer like me, it's fine. It glides well, it rotates and everything. Oh, I don't want to break it. And then the past few years, it's getting a little bit of scratches here and there, but for me it doesn't really matter. I can still aim. I mean, I can't aim any longer because my aim sucks, but for me it's fine. For casual gamers that are playing FPS games, strategic games, just this thing is perfectly adequate. It's pretty good. And for the sensor, it has the Hero sensor that goes up to 25,000 DPI. Who's ever going to use that DPI? I don't know. If you use that, raise your hands and you're crazy. Just joking. But if you do, how How are you able to do that? I personally use 800 DPI and I put it there ever since. But actually, I used to use 400 DPI, but then I became normal. Not normal, but I said it was too slow. Sometimes just to move your mouse, you have to move it so far. I just bump up the DPI to 800 and now it's perfect. And the sensor tracks really well. I can flick it wherever I want, and the screen, the tracking never goes off. I can aim perfectly if my aim was good, like Simple. This house was used by Simple and he won countless of tournaments, so I guess it's pretty good. The sensor has no issues at all. And the grip style, well, as you can see, this mouse it's a symmetric mouse, so and it has a bump on top in the middle. You can use any grip style you want in here. You can use palm if your hands are small enough, fingertip, and claw grip. That's what I use. Maybe if you play with fingertip, maybe a smaller mouse will be better, and if you have palm grip, a bigger mouse. But to be honest, for a casual gamer or casual person, doesn't really matter. And the software is pretty nice. To be honest, I don't use it. I just save the profile of 800 DPI and that's it. And I never open it ever again because this thing has an onboard memory, and if you save it on the mouse, it's going to be like that. There's no RGB, so what do you need? There's no need for RGB. This thing is perfectly beautiful enough. You don't need all of that thing. And my personal opinion, this mouse it's been doing me pretty great. Do you really need to spend 120 euros for a mouse? In my opinion, no. I've been using the G305 before and I was aiming just like, maybe I'm aiming a little bit better with this, but unless you're playing tournaments or you want to become a pro or just so competitive and want like all the advantages you can get, yeah, this thing is worth it. But for me now, if I didn't have this and I still have my G305, wait, let me get it actually. Here you go, another mouse. And if I still had my G305, well, which I do still, but this mouse, I just use it at my work because the mouse there are not very good. To be honest, this thing new cost like 30 to 40 euros, and this thing new now is like 90. Is it worth the jump? Well, if you're just a casual gamer, this thing is perfectly adequate. The difference is the battery. This thing uses a AA battery and it weighs more. This thing has a lithium battery inside that is integrated with the mouse. You just have to plug in a USB cable that is USB 2.0, so it only goes on one side. It's not USB-C. But all the people are complaining, oh my god, why is this not Type C? And they have a point. This thing was released in 2020 and all the other competitors are having Type C, but in my personal opinion, I don't really care. This thing charges pretty fast. In an hour, it's maybe a little bit less. It's from 0 to 100, it's already full. And other than that, the battery is pretty good. Before this mouse, I had the Razer Viper Ultimate, and that thing was... the battery just didn't last as long as this. I think I can use this for 2 to 3 weeks. Of course, I don't game 8 hours a day, but I use the mouse maybe for 2 to 4 hours a day when I'm at home just browsing the internet, and sometimes I play games. And the battery is very satisfying. I'm very satisfied about the battery life. 2 to 3 weeks charge. It's the low battery, just plug it in and you can still use it, no problem. Is this mouse worth it compared to this one? Well, if you're a casual gamer, it doesn't really matter. I can aim just as good on this. They're the same. Maybe, as I said before, a little bit better, but this mouse is way heavier. It's around 100 grams with this big battery. You won't, if you get used to this, it's no issue at all. There's also a mod where you can use a lithium battery instead of this heavier battery, so you can drop off the weight a little bit, or use a AAA battery with an adapter. But other than that, it's all good.